first Saturday of March, we welcome you to Mohegan Sun, Uncasville, Connecticut, the home of the 2023 Big East Women's Basketball Tournament presented by Jeep. It's the top-seeded UConn Huskies taking on the 9th-seeded Georgetown Hoyas in the first of 4 quarterfinal showdowns. Here's a look at our bracket, our coverage beginning here on FS1, with the marathon continuing on FS2 at 2:30 with Marquette and St. John's, and then all throughout the day. Welcome, everybody, to our Big East Tournament coverage. I'm John Fanta. My partner is Kim Adams. The third member of our team is Megan Caffrey. And we begin with big news. UConn, for the first time in 15 games, will have Azzi Fudd back in the lineup today. What does that mean?
Well, this is certainly a UConn team that has been more vulnerable than in recent seasons. 2 recent conference losses. A couple other teams have had them on the ropes. So with Azzi back in the lineup, you get back some important depth. You also just get back an elite scorer. This is just her 10th game of the season, but in those 9 games, averaging about 18 points per game, a player who can spread the floor with a 3-point shot. And Gino also really likes what she'll bring back for them on the defensive end as well.
Fudd coming off the knee injury. We'll see what's in store for her and the Huskies. Let's turn to these Georgetown Hoyas. Advancing past Butler yesterday, and they did it behind the Big East Freshman of the Year, Kennedy Fauntleroy.
Yeah, Kennedy was fantastic. She has led all Big East freshmen in scoring this season, averaging about 11 points per game. And this was the last meeting with UConn. She had 24 points in that one. How about the 6 rebounds and 5 steals? She had some big time moments in their win over Butler down the stretch yesterday, John.
The Huskies of Connecticut look to start the pursuit for a 21st Big East Tournament title this week. The Hoyas are upset-minded. It's UConn, it's Georgetown, it's the Big East. Next. Moments away from tip-off of our first Big East Women's Basketball Tournament quarterfinal between UConn and Georgetown. Let's welcome in the third member of our team, Megan Caffrey.
Hey, John. Well, the very first thing that UConn head coach Gino Auriemma said when he sat down with us earlier was, well, it is an exciting day, and it certainly is for the Huskies. Get this. For the first time since their game against Texas on November 14th, the Huskies have all 10 of their players from the regular season lineup back healthy and ready to rock and roll. Now, you also did mention Azzi Fudd a little earlier. Coach Auriemma told us she won't necessarily be on a minutes restriction today. It'll more so be feeling out how she looks. John and Kim.
Taking a look at the starting lineup sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. Kim Adams, Lou Lopez Seneschal has been so important to UConn's equation.
Yeah, graduate transfer from Fairfield University. Gino just raved about the role she had to evolve into, getting more from her than they even expected due to the myriad of injuries that this Huskies group has faced.
Our officials, Bruce Morris, Crystal Apollonis, Safe Fish Show. Husky fans have an extra jolt of energy as Azzi Fudd is back in the equation. UConn with 10 available players, as Megan brought up. The Hoyas in the road blocks, UConn in the home whites, and we're underway with quarterfinal Saturday.
UConn also happy to see Dorka Juhas out there. She had missed their regular season final game with an ankle injury.
Aaliyah Edwards with the defense out of the gates. It will stay with Georgetown. The Hoyas beating Butler in the first round yesterday, 53-46. They started slow and then got cooking with defense.
Yeah, this is a Georgetown team that is built upon pressure defense. We'll probably see some full court pressure from them. We'll see it in the half court.
Grace Sam Bennett rejected by Juhas and Aaliyah Edwards. Camille off to Aubrey Griffin. Rebound to the Hoyas. Here's Fauntleroy, the Big East Freshman of the Year, starting with a banked-in shot.
And just a little bit too much space there for Fauntleroy. She's a freshman. You want to make her feel uncomfortable to start this big atmosphere game, and nobody picks her up off of the ball screen.
Fauntleroy, a top 100 recruit. Jimmy Howard calls her the ice to their team, just cold-blooded. And the Hoyas starting with a couple of stops. Last time these two teams met, February the 11th. Just an 8-point game. UConn shorthanded, but Georgetown hung in.
Yeah, really both of the meetings. Georgetown was in the game for a lot of it, especially in first halves, but they were able to force 23 UConn turnovers in each of those regular season meetings.
Mika Mule looking for Dorka Juhas, and a foul on Claude. Jimmy Howard, the head coach at Georgetown, was on the staff of Natasha Adair before getting elevated to the lead job. And Kim, he's really been impressed with his backcourt's evolution as the year's gone on.
Yeah, with Kelsey Ransom, Kennedy Fauntleroy, he called it almost a big sister, little sister dynamic. Those two are electric to watch, especially on the defensive end, I think.
With the mules off, there's Griffin with the offensive rebound. Dorka Juhas glides in.
And that was an issue for Georgetown in the first meeting, getting dominated on the glass. They were out-rebounded by 20 the last time these two teams played. You cannot give this big UConn team extra looks.
Three is a little bit short for Moore. Edwards attacks. Great defense by Grace Ann Bennett. Fauntleroy stops and knocks it down.
And that's two now, John, that she's just had too much space to operate in the mid-range game. A player as dynamic as her in the open floor, you have to meet her early and stop the ball in transition.
UConn beat Xavier Monday, but just 60-51 as Griffin is fouled attacking. Gino Auriemma was very candid in his post-game thoughts, challenging his entire team after just a single-digit win over a Xavier team that did not record a Big East victory. What did you make of some of that commentary to close out the regular season?
Well, I think that's the sign of a good coach. You challenge your players. He obviously knows that they've been through the gauntlet with the limited rotations. Today, obviously, he has more players back, but you just want to keep coaching. Getting to this time of year, you have to continue to challenge your players to meet the occasion and to continue to rise at this time of the year.
Here's Grace Ann Bennett. Now with 10 on the shot clock, Claude, who led Georgetown in scoring yesterday, off on her first attempt. Bennett cannot clean it up, but Ransom has it. Shot clock did not reset. It's down to one. Claude ran out of time.
Yeah, Jada Claude had a fantastic game yesterday, 17 points. She made a lot of those shots that she just missed, but the difference here today is you have 6'5" Dorka Juhas contesting that shot. Claude's going to have to try to battle around that size.
Juhas back for the Huskies. She missed Monday's game against Xavier. Gino Auriemma said it, Kim. What we end up doing in March depends on the production of Edwards and Juhas. Seneschal, too.
And yeah, that was interesting to hear because a lot of times in March success, you think, oh, you need a great point guard, you need a great backcourt. But he says that's important, but for him, it was the bigs, and he counted down, you know, Rebecca Lobo, Maya Moore, Tina Charles, and he said those players have led the way for us in March, and he needs Aaliyah and Dorka to do that for them this year.
As you said, nice list, Coach.
Pretty elite list.
Pick and roll to Bennett. Just didn't work out for the Hoyas. Back-to-back turnovers.
Yeah, early on, you're just seeing the size and length that this UConn team brings on the perimeter, not just in the bigs, but with Aubrey Griffin, a 6-footer, Lopez Seneschal, a 6-footer, and they are just so long and making passes difficult right now for the Hoyas.
Connecticut allowing just 59 points per game. Seneschal on the drive. Lou Lopez Seneschal has been a godsend for this team.
Yeah, and just fundamental there, coming off of a ball screen at the top, turning the corner quickly, finding the gap, help not sliding in. Great read from Lopez Seneschal.
The reason why she's been a godsend, Gino Auriemma told us, is if we didn't have her, we would not have been able to win the Big East regular season championship. As Bennett connects, it's a 2.
Yeah, Lopez Seneschal had come over from Fairfield, where she was the MAC Player of the Year. Obviously, this is a much higher level, and she has just been able to acclimate and elevate into becoming a primary scorer for them. She thought she was going to be playing alongside AZ and Paige and just be an extra piece, but she has become such a huge part of what they've done.
Solid start for Georgetown. Here's Moore, their third leading scorer. Off to Claude, who was connecting all day yesterday. A little bit long here. Juhas in transition from Mule. Volker Juhas short. How about the defense from Grace Ann Bennett?
Yeah, she has really gotten in position and contested a couple of these earlier interior looks.
Nika Mule with a nasty crossover, and she's fouled. Taking us to our first timeout.
UConn back in their home state. The Husky faithful are out. Lou Lopez Seneschal giving them an early show. She's got 4 points to start this game.
This season turned out to be unlike any other in stores. Coming in as the preseason number 6 ranked team, UConn and Paige Beckers and freshman Ice Brady suffer season-ending injuries. Then they come roaring out of the gate, showing that they can still be a national factor. 3 wins versus top 10 teams to start the year. Things take an unexpected turn. They lose back-to-back games, first to South Carolina, then Marquette, and then falling to an unranked St. John's team late in the regular season. First time since 2012-13 that the Huskies have lost multiple conference games.
Well, yeah, it's really been back-to-back seasons now of an up-and-down roller coaster season due to injuries. Taking a look at the recap here, you mentioned the top 2 out. 22 games for AZ Fudd, who will make her return right now. Caroline Ducharme missed a large chunk of time with a concussion, and then a couple other players in and out as well. But for the first time, we've got 10 players in the lineup.
Listen to this. The emotion of that moment, Kim Adams, sums up how closely aligned the Connecticut fan base is to this program, that it has been a roller coaster ride of a season, and you know it having played. The mental health involved with injuries and battling through all of this.
Absolutely. That's why I love to see that little smile that she broke out with. We know she can be stoic at times and so passionate, but to just step out there, hear the crowd relax a little bit and crack that smile. Great to see AZ Fudd back on the floor for the first time since mid-January.
Second chance for Georgetown. An entry cut off by Nika Mule.
The Big East Defensive Player of the Year just sneaking behind that post up, coming away with the steal.
Caroline Ducharme a little bit off. There's always something a little extra personal when AZ Fudd is on the floor against Georgetown, who she last played in the game against, because her mom, Katie, played for the Hoyas.
Yeah, a lot of parallels there. Always fun to look back at those photos of Mom. She credits her so much with the development she had in her own game.
7 on the shot clock. Ransom off to Moore. Moore with 3. The Huskies led by Nika Mule with defense. Now Mule off to Seneschal. Backdoor to Edwards, who's fouled.
Really pretty sequence for UConn on both ends. You mentioned that ball pressure, the activity level is there on the defensive end. And then Nika Mule, second in the nation in assists per game. Eyes are always up. Aaliyah Edwards with the rebound. Nika Mule, eyes up, getting to the middle of the floor. Lopez Seneschal running the lane, and then the trailer coming in. That is a full team fast break there. Everybody getting involved.
To Kim Adams, Aaliyah Edwards, unanimous All Big East first team. That wasn't a surprise. How about the fact, though, she was named Big East most improved player. How have you seen her improve?
She's had a monster year. She had a really good freshman year, a quieter sophomore year. This year we saw confident, aggressive Aaliyah come back. She's taken over games. She's racked up a ton of double-doubles and has just become a more versatile scorer in the process.
Jenkins a little long. Offensive rebound by Brianna Scott. The Huskies just meeting everything near the rim.
They are. They're dialed in on this end right now, and it's starting with ball pressure. They are up in the Hoyas jerseys. They're not allowing penetration, but then the bigs are just there waiting to make shots difficult, send help.
Georgetown 0 for its last 6, a 3-minute drought. Fauntleroy. Edwards comes down with it. And an illegal screen. It's on Mule.
And Nika Mule just trying to get in a little bit of a handoff situation there with AZ Fudd, trying to get her first look of the game, but shuffled a little bit too much into the defender as she was setting a screen in the process of that handoff.
Jenkins kicking to Brianna Scott. Now the team without a 3 thus far. Now Moore. And Mule skying for the board. Here's Fudd in her return for the Huskies. Ducharme from Edwards. Fudd with the offensive rebound. Downstairs to Uhas, who took the contact, finished in the foul.
And you'd love to see that passion from Uhas. As we mentioned, we talked to Gino. He said these two, Uhas and Edwards, have to be the ones that are going to get this done for us in March. Getting position on the post-ups, being aggressive. Dorothy Uhas has come to play after missing that finale of the regular season with an ankle injury.
And what a role she has played in her second year with the program. Take a look at Georgetown. Right now in a drought, anything you notice they can do differently?
Well, what's tough about this matchup is UConn's so big inside, so things are clogged. You're going to have to get production from the outside, but Georgetown shoots just 28% from 3.
That snaps the drought. It's Jenkins.
And that's how you hope to get back in this game. Little plays like that, getting to the free throw line, being more disruptive on this end of the floor so that you can get out and run in transition where they're so effective. But the half court is going to be a challenge against this big and long UConn defense.
A foul on Kelsey Ransom. Georgetown in the penalty. It's Ransom's second. Take a look at this here on the right knee. It is quite the brace on the knee of AZ Fudd.
Yeah, AZ Fudd had injured the knee early December at Notre Dame. Did try and come back and play 2 games, re-injured it. Now she's back for the first time since mid-January, but it certainly has to limit your mobility a little bit. But Gino did say he feels she has looked really good in practice these last couple of days.
Parents watching. AZ has talked openly about how vital, how instrumental they have been throughout all of the processes of going through injuries, going through setbacks. They've been there every step of the way, lifting her confidence level. Here's Ransom, their leading scorer. And Edwards is fouled from behind by Scott, so she'll head to the line.
And it's another Georgetown possession where they just cannot break through that initial line of UConn defense, and they're having to settle for long jumpers. Long 2s, 3s, and a bump from behind there from Brianna Scott. Leah Edwards heading to the free throw line.
Some foul trouble mounting in the process for Georgetown. 2 fouls on Kelsey Ransom, 2 fouls on Brianna Scott, and here's Edwards to the line.
And those 2 are such a big part of what the Hoyas do defensively. Kelsey Ransom, when it comes to defending the opponent's best guard, Brianna Scott, adding the size that they desperately need in this matchup. So 2 key losses heading to the bench in the first quarter.
Gino Auriemma was also reflecting on this team's journey, Kim, and said, in a lot of ways, Edwards is a bit of a reflection on the court of how it's gone. And in November, December, January, she was dominating. They've got to get her back to that in March.
And he did say that about Dorka as well. And I think we have to give these women some grace because of the heavy minutes they've had to play. They've been tired, but he doesn't want to use anything as an excuse. But having more depth now should take a little bit of a load off.
The Husky standard, 6 on the shot clock. Here for Georgetown, Rivera. Edwards with physicality and a jump ball. It's with UConn with 7.7 seconds.
You asked the difference we're seeing in Aaliyah Edwards this season. She went after that rebound like nobody else was going to touch it. So aggressive and crashing the boards, averaging about 9 rebounds a game this season.
7, here's Mule. To 5. 5 with 2. Easy 5. And Juhas, not enough time. That does it for the opening quarter. The Huskies off to a sharp start with defense to begin the Big East tournament. The 20-time Big East tournament champion, Connecticut Huskies, up 9 on Georgetown heading into the second quarter, as you see fans of all sorts with their AZ FUD attire or paint, whatever it might be. Let's take a look back at the regular season meetings between UConn and Georgetown.
Georgetown played UConn tough in both of these meetings. We mentioned Kennedy Fauntleroy in the most recent meeting, had a huge game in the loss, 24 points, 6 rebounds, 5 steals. But John, what I'm looking for right now from Georgetown is to generate some more offense from their defense. In those 2 meetings, they forced 23 UConn turnovers. So far, just 1 UConn turnover. Georgetown has had a tough time finding success in the half court. I think they're going to have to be more disruptive and get out and play in transition.
Here's Grace Ann Bennett, known as the heart and soul of this Georgetown team, won the Big East Sportsmanship Award. Rivera off on the 3. We have yet to see a made triple. 0 for 14, the 2 teams are combined.
Yeah, Georgetown is 0 of 10. I think they are settling a little bit against this stout perimeter defense. You have to get some more exchanges, some cutting and screening to find some openings in the middle of this defense.
The one positive for the Hoyas, 10 offensive rebounds. Fauntleroy just off. Georgetown's asking if that got deflected. Let's see.
Tough to tell from that angle. Coach Howard certainly believed it was, but kind of another forced deep 3 there. 0 of 11 now for the Hoyas.
Here's Mule, setting a single season record for assists for passes like that. It didn't go for Griffin. Edwards is there.
Yeah, that was just a beautiful read from Nika Mule. Didn't get the initial shot to drop, but led to the offensive board. Mule's vision is just incredible this season.
Here's Claude. The Huskies have been in all the right places on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, we didn't see Jada Claude miss too many of those yesterday, but again, it's Aaliyah Edwards, Dorka Juhas, a different type of size contesting the shots today.
Bodies to the floor and a foul on Georgetown.
And let's look at the vision from Nika Mule. Getting right in the middle of 5 Georgetown defenders, coming to a jump stop, staying fundamental, kicking out to the corner. Second in the country in assists this season, Nika Mule.
Lou Lopez-Seneschal thought she got fouled there, Kim, and still asking where the whistle was after a lot of contact.
Yeah, Lopez Seneschal has had to deal with a lot of physicality this season because she's been the targeted player on the perimeter. She's chased around all the time, trying to limit her touches.
And it rolling. Scott cannot connect. UConn has held Georgetown to 4 for 27. Uhas will stay with Connecticut. You were talking about Nika Mule. Gino Auriemma said beyond everything she does defensively in the assist column, her leadership has been a big reason why this team has stayed afloat.
Yeah, and you've needed leadership this season when these women have really been beaten down in terms of the minutes they've had to play. There have been some tough stretches, and you need players to help you through. Dorka Uhas again getting it done on the offensive glass.
Uhas and Edwards have combined for 12 of the Huskies' 21. Fauntleroy can't fit it past Griffin. And Uhas is held by Bennett. We told you about single season assists in UConn history. Look at the class of individuals Nika Mule passed.
Incredible. I mean, those are some of the all-time greats in the college game and the WNBA. Nika Mule has also set the single game record this season with her 15 assist game, beating her buddy Paige Beckers.
There's Lou Lopez Seneschal.
Lopez Seneschal, such a dynamic scorer in terms of where she could score on the floor. She's a 3-level scorer, really a 4-level if you want to throw in the free throws. Not many things she can't do offensively.
Saw that single season assists record group. Gino Auriemma, as the fouls on Uhas, has compared Mule to Jennifer Rosati and her overall game. Foul on Uhas, her first. As Fudd has checked back in. And the Hoyas give it away. The pass from Mule up ahead to Griffin. And Ransom with defense from behind.
Yeah, nice recovery from Ransom. Nika Mule almost just throwing that ball out in front of Aubrey Griffin like a wide receiver. And Aubrey Griffin is somebody who can typically get to these. But Kelsey Ransom, who herself, I think, could have also been the Defensive Player of the Year, showing why, sprinting back.
But just a little short. Keep talking about it with Georgetown. Shot selection as there's a foul on Mule.
Well, I thought that possession started off with a bit more pace in terms of moving the ball quickly. I think that's important. You have to keep this UConn defense moving in order to find some openings. At times, the possessions have been stagnant, and that's what's led them to really settle for a lot of deep 2s and 3s, and they haven't yet hit from behind the arc in this game.
Caroline Ducharme checks back in. Here's Brianna Scott. That's the kind of day it's been thus far for Georgetown. Rattled in and out. AZ5. Another offensive rebound for UConn. Uhas could not connect. Scott thought about it. This time Tates took the contact and will shoot 2 at the line.
And that time Georgetown was able to get out and run a little bit, have some numbers, but it started with rebounding on the other end, not giving up the O board, securing that rebound, outletting it, and just getting out and not letting UConn get set in the half court.
Brianna Scott at the line. Played her first game since February the 15th yesterday when she banged heads against Butler. and came back against the Bulldogs, got her revenge. Also the daughter of our Fox Sports colleague, Christy Winter-Scott.
Yeah, Christy Winter-Scott, one of the best in the business, one of the best moms out at the Big Ten tournament right now, always supporting. Brianna was huge in the win yesterday off the bench, 11 points and 6 rebounds in just 15 minutes.
Such a fun time of year. Loaded Big Ten. Catch coverage of that on BTN. Fudd in and out.
He's waiting for that one to It looks good off the hands. He's just waiting for it to fall.
He had not seen a made three. Hanson cannot hit. A lid on the bucket. 0 for 20 combined from three-point range. Into Edwards from Seneschal.
You don't need threes when Aaliyah Edwards can get a deep post-up position like that, just completely establishing herself in front of the defender for an easy lay-in. Aaliyah Edwards, one of the powerful post players in this game, just getting that position. UConn looking good early.
UConn up big on Georgetown here in the second quarter. Let's go inside the huddle with Gino Auriemma.
The rest of the tournament, we catch the ball in this area right here, score or a foul. You should not accept anything other than that. You catch it in here and you go up strong. You gather yourself and go up strong. You don't have to rush anything. Just go up strong. Gather yourself and take it up strong.
And John, we couldn't quite see what area of the whiteboard he was referring to, but I would assume he's talking about that painted area down low in the block and just gathering, getting position, and not flailing or being weak with it and soft on the attempts. We've seen a few of those, but for the most part, Aaliyah Edwards and Dorky Juhas have really commanded that. They've combined for 14 points for the first 25 for UConn.
Foul on Seneschal, the last for the Huskies to give this quarter. It was interesting talking with Gino Auriemma pregame, because he was very candid to us and said, look, it's not the defensive end of the floor. We've been pretty aligned on that end. But when you can't score, and part of that is missing Paige Beppers for the full season, missing AZ Fudd for a good portion of the year, it really makes everything else you're doing harder.
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple game. And he said when the ball was going in, we do everything else better, whether that's a mental thing that just makes them play a bit freer. But so far, the offense and defense has been pretty strong in this quarterfinal opener.
John Fanta, Kim Adams, Megan Caffrey with you. Big East Tournament quarterfinals. First of 4 games today. This one on FS1. Our coverage shifts to FS2 for St. John's and Marquette at 2:30. Aubrey Griffin, that one's just spinning out. Interestingly enough, in this Big East tournament, the 2 teams that beat UConn in conference play are on their side of the bracket in the 4-5 game.
Sorry, I got distracted by a UConn fan with sunglasses on and the sleeveless jersey and long hair in the crowd.
Kim, thank you for being so honest with all of us. Ransom shorts.
Gino's honest with us. I have to keep it honest that the UConn fans are in full force here at Mohegan this afternoon.
Griffin gliding.
And that's what Gino talked about. Getting into that paint, going up strong, attacking the matchup, not shying away from contact or going up, trying to be fouled, going for the score.
Scott still without a made triple. Now AZ Fudd running point, tapping her head. Edwards. Georgetown just cannot get it going as Ducharme takes a hard fall, and this is UConn's continued worst nightmare.
Oof, it appears that Ducharme may have gotten hit in the back of the head from her own teammate, Aaliyah Edwards, obviously inadvertent, but Caroline Ducharme missed 13 games this season due to a concussion. So anytime she's getting hit there again is a cause for concern.
The sound of silence in the building. Stark contrast from when AZ Fudd came into this game, reflective of the kind of season it's been for UConn on this front. As Ducharme gets helped up.
Yeah, the storyline and the excitement of this game was the 10 players finally available.
I hope that she's all right. As Kim mentioned, 13 games missed due to being in concussion protocol. And so we will keep you updated on Caroline Ducharme. As we've talked about here, Connecticut is finally beginning this day with a lot of joy and excitement. Gino Auriemma said this is a big day for all of us. We've got as many pieces as we can. 10 players fully healthy for the first time since November. And then you have that happen.
Yeah, you could tell Gino just felt a little bit lighter today about just the promise of having players and subs to put in the game.
Great hustle by Juhas to deflect that off Fauntleroy.
James Howard speaking his thoughts to the officials, saying he thought there should have been a push first on Fauntleroy. And you see that 6 different lineups. Only Aaliyah Edwards and Mika Mule have played in all 31 games this season, 32 today.
Griffin was out of bounds. Coming up on the Jeep halftime report, we'll have first half stats and highlights, and we'll preview the second game of our quarterfinal lineup. Marquette and St. John's.
And you said it earlier, 2 teams that have beaten UConn in recent weeks. Playing really well. Looking forward to that one after this.
More. These 2 teams have taken a combined 22 threes, and we have not had a make.
Time for you to go out there, Fanta, and show them how it's done. I know you've got the form on lock.
Blue Lopez Seneschal. She's got that form.
Love that mid-range game of hers. That's just fundamental. Being in the gym, getting your reps in. The footwork is perfect. The high release points. A couple of mid-range jumpers for Lou, while the threes haven't fallen for these teams.
Now Seneschal off the turnover, ahead to Griffin. What a find. And a rejection to give it back to the Hoyas by Myricks.
Couple times now, Hoyas have saved a layup with multiple players sprinting back. That's typically a touchdown for Aubrey Griffin anytime she gets some speed in the open floor. But Hoyas have sprinted back and gotten some deflections and blocks.
Can the Hoyas find some sort of offense, some sort of rhythm to take in the locker room with them? Ransom supplies it.
And they finally get that mid-range area to go. I think that's somewhere where they're going to have to attack and thrive, because they're not a great three-point shooting team, and they're not big enough to go and battle inside with the UConn-Bigs.
Backdoor for AZ Fudd. Welcome back, AZ Fudd.
AZ Fudd, nice movement without the ball. Parents are up and very happy to see their daughter back out there.
Her first made field goal in her first game back in 15 contests. Now another giveaway by Georgetown, their 7th. Fudd to Seneschal. Timeout, Georgetown. If you didn't know it before, Connecticut has arrived to the Big East Championship.
And John, this team is just so good in transition. All 5 players, the guards leading the play, and here is AZ Fudd's first field goal of the game since making her debut back on the court, and just a simple cut, getting position in front of the defender. And then this team is just ridiculously good in the open court. It's Fudd leading the break this time. The guards always get to the middle of the floor, and everybody locates to a spot on the perimeter. Lou Lopez-Seneschal, one of the top 3-point shooters in the nation, 43%, finally gets a 3 to drop in this building for the first time today. It took about 22 tries?
That's right.
But we finally got one. Thank you, Lou, for lifting the lid.
Final minute of this first half. Lopez-Seneschal with 11 for Connecticut to lead the way. Here's Ransom, the junior, off to Moore. Georgetown just has not been their half from the floor. Of course, UConn has something to do with that, as you've noted.
Yeah, and a 3 like that, you see a little bit of fatigue, just legs weren't under you, but it was a couple feet back from the line as well. But this is a team that played yesterday. They play a lot of minutes. They get up and down. James Howard is not pleased with some of these calls here.
Enes Betancourt, the freshman from Portugal, is checked in. Jimmy Howard in year 6 at the helm. Loved the way his team defended yesterday, but said even after the Butler game, offensively, we got to be better here today. Well, you're meeting the brick wall that is UConn. Uhas with the offensive rebound, and we got a whistle. And a foul. Georgetown in the penalty.
And Dorka Uhas now has 4 offensive rebounds. I know she's big, but the work comes before. Getting position when the shot goes up, being physical with her, trying to push her out, but she's just been able to easily waltz into a couple of offensive boards in this game. It's been too easy.
Think about her story, Kim. Elite 8 against NC State last year. You called that game for radio, and she goes out with an injury, and she knew a little bit before the injury then she wanted to be back here for this journey. Now she wants to go further than that this month. Georgetown with 10 seconds, and we get a foul on Connecticut. Now they're in the penalty.
Gino just can't believe the decision there of his player, Betancourt. That's just not a... She kind of just knew it was a mismatch and almost gave up on defending it, but you can't do that when a team is in the bonus with the shot clock and the game clock waning down, and now you send them to the free throw line.
The collective facial expression of Gino Auriemma with Betancourt, who was looking up saying, well, we know it's me. UConn has it with 7 seconds. Edwards to Betancourt, now with 3. Betancourt ahead to Fudd to beat the buzzer. A dominant opening 20 minutes by the Huskies. UConn being led by Lou Lopez-Seneschal with 11. And Dorka Uhas and Aaliyah Edwards have combined for 15. Edwards already with 10 rebounds, and the Huskies have asserted themselves a 20-time Big East tournament champions, and Megan Caffrey's with the Hall of Famer Gino Auriemma.
Thanks, John. Well, Coach, your team held Georgetown to just 12 points in the first half. What defensively were they able to do?
Well, I thought we did a great job of identifying, who we really needed to pressure and who we really needed to back off of. And like we talked about earlier in there, they do such a good job of trying to get into the lane, and I thought we did everything that we needed to do to keep them out of the lane and force, jump shots. And and then we rebounded the ball a little bit better once we got going. But yeah, I mean, you can't complain at all about our defense. That's been great.
Offensively, though, you're able to get back in transition. A lot of looks from a lot of players. What was clicking there?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You know, if we're rebounding the ball, then we ought to be able to get something good down the other end. And as I said, you know, like if you've got AZ out there and you got Lou out there, and you know, we're running the floor and the big guy's going down. So right now we're getting to all the right spots and making a lot of good decisions. So it's the best first half we played in quite some time now.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
John and Kim.
With their full complement of players, Gino Auriemma overall pleased. Taking a look at the game summary thus far, all defense by the Huskies to hold Georgetown to 5 of 36 from the floor, and Connecticut owning the paint in the opening 20 minutes. Even Jonathan the Husky is back in the UConn lineup after he missed some time due to having surgery earlier this season, but he's ready for the postseason now. Let's send it over to Megan Caffrey.
Thanks, John. Well, Kim, you were saying how if you're Georgetown, you need to find out ways to find more movement, and that's exactly what Jimmy Howard addressed to his team at half. He did say, though, UConn has come out, and they are just being so physical. We want to look a little bit more so inside in the second. And, guys, I do also have an injury update for you. We should not expect to see Caroline Ducharme returning. She will not return the rest of the game.
Thank you, Megan. What does that, in the small term and in the big term, Ducharme's presence mean to Connecticut?
Well, it certainly just puts a damper on the afternoon. As we mentioned, we talked to Gino. The first thing he said to us was, this is such an exciting day. For the first time since November, we have our full roster available, and we feel for this team. We feel for Caroline. We hope to see her back out there, but at least today they do have reinforcements, and Megan just reported they want to dump it inside. A good opening possession for the Hoyas out of the locker room.
And the bucket by Kelsey Ransom, their leading scorer, the junior. Lou Lopez Seneschal with 11 in the first half. And yet again, Aaliyah Edwards' effort.
Yeah, and a different look here defensively. Georgetown coming out in zone, but when you're in a zone, you have to locate players to box out.
Uhas glides right through it.
All 5 of her rebounds today, John, have come on the offensive end. She has not been able to be stopped in that area of the game.
Ransom is fouled. She'll head to the line. Certainly an active start to the second half for Georgetown's leading scorer.
Yeah, and this is, you know, when you're in a rut like this, you really need to rely on your stars. Kelsey Ransom has led this team in essentially every category. There are the numbers right there. She leads them in scoring, assists, rebounds, and steals. And you can tell she's putting a little pressure on herself to help try to get her group back in this game. She's an energy type player.
Jimmy Howard talked to us on Thursday, said they're able to get her from New Jersey. She plays with that kind of swagger, ran track in high school, and when they get her out on the open floor, that's Georgetown basketball.
Yeah, and that's what I think they're lacking in this game. Her and Kennedy Fauntleroy, just 2 dynamic players. They haven't really been able to get going in the fast break.
Off the turnover. Moore, she's fouled. So Georgetown with 3 straight productive trips.
Yeah, we're seeing attack mode, more aggressive. Players taking the ball off the dribble, getting fouls, putting pressure on the UConn defense.
3rd foul on Lou Lopez Seneschal. And Gino Auriemma will remove her for AZ5.
And that's something Gino couldn't do just a week ago, 2 weeks ago. He had to leave players in with 3 fouls, but now with AZ back, he has somebody to go to, or even if players just need a breather, something that the starters have not had. They've been playing 39, 40 minutes over the course of the last few weeks and months. And a different look again to start this half for Georgetown, a bit of a 3-2 zone. When you play zone, you're asking the opponent to knock down from the outside, and Dorka Juhas says, all right, I'll take you up on that. Just the second three in this game. It was a tough start shooting-wise.
Here's Ransom with the answer. Hello, Kelsey Ransom.
All right, the ladies are warmed up. The threes are starting to flow a little bit.
The first triple for Georgetown after an 0 for 15 start. Edwards from the elbow. UConn has sliced right through the Georgetown zone.
Absolutely, that middle of the paint area, that free throw line area where you want to attack a 2-3 or 3-2 zone. Aaliyah Edwards does just that, and nobody moves to her.
Ransom again. Another battle for the board, and Edwards was fouled from behind by Claude. Second foul on Jada Claude, who has been scoreless today after her best performance as a Georgetown Hoya yesterday. Morehead State transfer with 17 points in that win over Butler. Juhas to Edwards. How about the catch and the finish?
They've attacked every gap in this zone. It was the free throw line area. Now attacking the back side of the zone. Aaliyah Edwards getting the steal, but not an easy catch.
12th double-double of the year. And now Griffin flying in with some defense. She's fouled by Ransom. That's Ransom's fourth.
And that's big. We saw the fire she came out with to start this half. And look at this ridiculous catch from Aaliyah Edwards, corralling it in, getting the finish. Not a lot of post players could make that catch. It wasn't a perfectly thrown pass. And John, we talked about her being the most improved player this season. You mentioned that's her 12th double-double. In her first two seasons, she only had 3 total. She's got 12 in this junior year.
And all 3 came as a freshman. Here's Fudd. Edwards, Aaliyah Edwards. Initiate beast mode. Timeout Hoyas.
The UConn Huskies. AZ Fudd back in the game. Doesn't get it to go, but Aaliyah Edwards has been here to clean things up all afternoon long. The Huskies are looking good here at Mohegan Sun.
We're at Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut, the home of the 2023 Big East Women's Basketball Tournament. UConn up by 26 on Georgetown. Let's take a look at the Big East regular season award winners. We'll see Joe Tartamella's St. John's Red Storm in our next game against Marquette. How about Grace Ann Bennett winning the Sportsmanship Award?
Yeah, Coach Howard just raved about what she's brought to this program. A couple other award winners in this game. Fauntleroy, Nika Mule, it's a second year back-to-back. She's been Defensive Player of the Year. Of course, we mentioned Most Improved Player, Aaliyah Edwards.
With more on the Hoyas' heart and soul, here's Megan Caffrey.
John, she really is the heart and soul of this Hoyas team. It's been apparent in every single huddle. Grace Ann Bennett is so vocal, picking up her teammates. Coach Howard actually told us she is probably the best role model you'll ever find. Last February, she did lose her mom, and since then, much of her activism with women's sports have come following her mom's passing, guys.
Thank you, Megan. For a player and a person to go through that, mother passing away, and the fact that she has fought through that to continue playing basketball, but also the activism in women's sports as Juhas Hoyas a little bit off on the 3. She stepped in front of Congress as well to talk about how important women's sports needs to continue to be. Such a special person.
Yeah, and it extends so far from the basketball court. She's had such an impact on the university, and we're excited to see what she's going to continue to do in this realm once she's done playing.
Jimmy Howard got choked up talking about Grace Ann Bennett. He said when you can have a player who represents everything that is Georgetown University. He said Georgetown University is a one-of-a-kind place, and she rises above to be a leader at it. It's That's really special. 3 on the shot clock here for Griffin. Rejected by Jenkins. They play on, and the Hoyas have it. Fauntleroy finding Claude. Claude's been quiet today, and she's fouled by Juhas. Juhas is second.
UConn fans don't agree with that one, but I thought that was a better look. Georgetown has started to get involved in some more ball screening, and right now UConn is really aggressively jumping out at the ball handler, so I think Georgetown needs to continue attack on the pass outside of that. That's what got Jada Claude an open gap to attack.
Claude off on the first attempt. She was really the star, Ken, that got Georgetown to turn around the first quarter deficit. Hoyas were down 17-10 after 1 yesterday to Butler. And then they just took over, outscoring the Bulldogs 16-5 in the second because Claude got hot.
Yeah, I mean, they relied on their defense throughout, but she was the constant for them offensively when they couldn't find much. And it was a season-high 17 for her, but she hasn't been able to find that same success today.
Easy Fudd.
The best part of that for me, John, was that she didn't even react. She just pointed to her teammate and said, "Nice pass." Like, it's like she hadn't missed a beat. I didn't just welcome myself back. Just gonna applaud the pass, the assist there.
She's got that demeanor about her, Ken. Edwards swishes it home.
She's really been something special, and I know Gino is hard on her, and talking about the inconsistency of February, she looks in prime form today.
Edwards with 15 and 11. 3 Huskies in double figures. And here's Claude, still without a made field goal. UConn, much more like it offensively, 8 for 15 this quarter. Griffin gets her own miss. UConn with 13 offensive rebounds. Now here's Mule. 10 on the shot clock. Oh, this time she finishes.
Pretty. That's Croatian smooth right there.
Yeah.
Little sauce on it.
She just plays the game with that swagger. Fauntleroy. Here comes Fudd. The Huskies are now putting it all together in this third quarter. AZ Fudd, welcome back. Watch out, America. Number 35 has returned. And now comes up with a steal. Scramble for it, and Fauntleroy has it. And 1 for Jenkins.
Well, AZ Fudd putting on the UConn threads for the first time since mid-January. Nothing has changed. Miss Fudd is money from deep.
UConn up by 31 on Georgetown. AZ Fudd has gotten it cooking.
Yeah, Fudd making her return in front of the UConn fans. Warmed up into the game a little bit with just some nice off-ball movement, but now she's starting to get back to that beautiful three-point shot, showing the range. Her feet are set. The elbow is locked and loaded. The follow-through is high. AZ Fudd has knocked down her last 2 threes. She now has 10 points in this game. And how about the creation? 4 assists as well. I think she's impacted the defensive end. She's happy to be back out there. And John, it just takes so much pressure off of her teammates. I would say most notably off of Lou Lopez-Seneschal, who's had to shoulder so much additional weight. But even the post players, to have another threat on the perimeter to kick out to and know she can knock down a 3, it just elevates this already very talented UConn group and gives them another dimension as we turn the calendar to March.
What were we talking about earlier, Kim? The defense, the rebounding have been there, but Gino Auriemma said it gets harder when you're not scoring. Aaliyah Edwards is scoring 17 points.
And it makes things easier for everybody. Gino talked to us about this as well. When you have AZ Fudd and Lou Lopez-Seneschal on the perimeter, you can't double team Aaliyah Edwards and Dorka Juhas like you would if they weren't on the floor.
Jenkins is fouled. Send it back over to Megan.
Well, John, although we won't see Caroline Ducharme play the rest of the game, she is back out on the bench with her teammates. She does have an ice pack that she's been holding and earplugs in her ears, guys.
It has just been such a challenging road for Ducharme. They were just showing her on the video board because, folks, the Jumbotron here in Mohegan has our broadcast up, so that's what led the fans to giving her a round of applause. How aware are UConn fans? They just saw Ducharme's face, and they gave her a round of applause.
Yeah, it's just tough to see. She's battled through so much, was finally starting to find her footing a little bit. This was her 6th game back from the concussion. And it's just been a season of tough times to mount.
And really 2 seasons for this program. Turnaround does not fall for Patterson, who's checked in alongside Betancourt. The other dimension for UConn, they entered this tournament as the pull-up 3 is off for Rivera, having played their last 8 games decided by 10 or less. What a dish from Mule! Ahead to Griffin.
And John, we talked about all the talent on this team, the first teamers, Defensive Player of the Year. Aubrey Griffin was all Big East honorable mention, but I think she is such a dangerous element to this team because nobody can stop her in the open floor like that in transition.
It'll stay with the Hoyas.
Aubrey Griffin in transition is a cheat code. Like a wide receiver, beats every defender down the floor, gets that hand up, and she has a tremendous quarterback in Nika Mule, who always has her eyes up. And those two together, very dangerous.
Yes, they are. Moore can't hit. And here comes Mule again, just looking and surveying.
Yep.
She can score it too, and will go in the line for a pair.
And Gino has given her that play call a couple times now, where the forwards are giving her 2 ball screen options on either elbow. And she's found success off of it a couple times, just attacking strong. A forward has switched on to her, and she's used her speed and explosiveness to get by.
We were talking earlier about the challenges and Fudd alleviating things. But 8 straight games for this program decided by 10 points or less. Gino Auriemma and his staff were talking earlier this week, and they just said, can we play one of our UConn patented games where we just have an enjoyable afternoon? This has to be more refreshing because 8 games for this program played close has to feel like an eternity.
Yeah, he said February has just been such an intense grind. They've had a couple of losses, the South Carolina loss, the 2 conference losses, and then opponents who haven't beaten them have been tight, and it's been down to the wire and just really put a lot of physical wear and tear on this team. That's why he's so happy to have AZ Fudd back available.
11-second difference between shot and game. Betancourt rejected by Jenkins.
Ariel Jenkins has had a couple of vicious blocks in this game. The 6'3" sophomore from Piscataway, New Jersey, coming from behind, disciplined to not foul. She's done that a couple times now off the bench, brings a lot of size to this Georgetown team.
3 rejections for the Hoyas. And UConn gives it away. Georgetown could hold it if they'd like. No run. Fauntleroy to Rivera. Rivera from the corner.
Best possession of the day from the Georgetown offense. Ball movement, inside out, extra passes, open looked, and they get it to drop for the second time from deep this afternoon.
7 seconds for Nika Mule. Nika Mule with 3. Mule off to Juhas. Juhas has to heave. And that does it for the third quarter. $30 down, 10 to go for the top-seeded UConn Huskies. It's Son, John Fanta, Kim Adams, Megan Caffrey, our entire crew.
There's my guy.
Yes.
Look at that. He looks like he's at the beach right now. This is, if you tuned in earlier, I kind of got lost mid-thought because I spotted this man in the crowd. I mean, he is straight out of Southern California right now.
That man has one thing in mind.
Wait, he has shorts on. He has shorts on, I can see.
Yeah, he's got one thing in mind, Kim. Finish out this game, head out these doors, and throw 500 on black. And he's winning, Kim. He is not leaving the table until he has won. That man is our fan of the game.
I would wager a lot of money that he's wearing sandals. That's the feel I get.
Oh, I'm sure. He came on a mission today to this tournament. He's taking names. Do not get in his way, folks. It'll go back to Georgetown. Hey, while we're talking about this entire tournament, 2:30 Eastern Time, FS2, St. John's Marquette. That's one side of the bracket. Tonight, we've got Villanova and DePaul in a battle of 2 of the top 4 scorers in the country. Maddie Siegrist for Villanova, the leading scorer in the nation, and Anissa Morrow for DePaul.
It's a whole lot of buckets. Whole lot of buckets here at 7 p.m. You don't want to miss it.
And a 9:30 Seton Hall Creighton. Georgetown off the turnover. Rivera. Juhas with the board. If you're just joining us for this one, UConn with their full complement of players for the first time since November. AZ Fudd making her first appearance in 15 games, coming back from a knee injury. Caroline Ducharme left this game with a head injury in the second quarter. Viola Benincourt, they got 4 on the shot clock. Juhas has had a big day. Not this time.
I thought that was a bit of too unselfish of a possession for UConn. They had some open looks, but kept giving it up and ended up with probably the worst look of the possession, a contested deep 2 from Dorka.
Juhas and Aaliyah Edwards have combined for 30 points and 20 rebounds.
They have been sensational. The size of them, Dorka can give them a little bit more of an outside presence.
Scott gave it some thought with 7 on the shot clock, and she's fouled. Brianna Scott to the line. Kim, in this Big East tournament for Georgetown, when there's been a hustle play, those averages don't fully reflect what she has meant.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of untapped potential with Brianna Scott. Just a sophomore, really their 6th starter. James Howard has called her at times. But at 6'4", she gives them the ability to do some different things on the defensive end. And she's been really aggressive offensively as well in the 2 games she's been on the floor of this tournament.
Think about it, Kim, with Scott, just a sophomore, with Fauntleroy, the Big East freshman of the year, Kelsey Ransom's just a junior. There's a lot to potentially look forward to for Jimmy Howard.
Yeah, there's some nice pieces in place. Even Ariel Jenkins there guarding the ball. We saw a couple of blocks from her. She brings 6'3" size as well. And they're continuing to play hard, and that's what you love, despite the lopsided score.
Ransom sets the tone. She's the fire of this team, Kelsey Ransom.
And that was a nice looking shot, something Kelsey Ransom has been working on in the offseason, extending that range. I'd say she's really gotten the hang of the mid-range game. That would be a really dangerous piece if she could add that 3 ball to her game consistently.
That Seneschal off. And we'll go back to Georgetown. Well, Ransom at one point had 3 straight 20-plus point performances against Providence, Seton Hall, and Creighton. Had a 22-14 game against the Pirates in January. She can get hot quickly. Here she is again, Ransom. Lopez Seneschal with the rebound. DeBerry. Tapped out. Georgetown to take it right back. As Edwards and Griffin check back in. Leah Edwards with 17 and 11 today. What have you noticed about her performance? Edwards.
Edwards has been just so locked in. I think she's really attacked the glass.
3 girls crying, and it'll go back to Connecticut.
And then Edwards, not just rebounding though, John. I think offensively I've been impressed with her patience, when she wants to kick out, when she knows she has position inside and has gone up strong, as Gino was preaching for them to do in one of those huddles.
Batting cord, and 3 seconds is called on DeBerry. We've been talking about the Big East. And Gino Auriemma was telling us pregame, when you're playing in this league late in the season against teams that are hanging around the bubble conversation, they're playing like their lives are on the line. He said the St. John's game that they lost in Hartford was the biggest example of that. And that was a huge resume booster for the Red Storm.
Yeah, well, when you've been the top dog in your conference for a while, you're going to get every team's best shot. And it's also a testament to just how the league is deeper now. Teams are getting better. I do think we'll see more teams in the tournament than we've seen in recent years. Teams are elevating their play. We're seeing that on full display this season. We're going to see it throughout the course of this weekend.
Jump ball possession with UConn. The Big East made strides early in the season. Started 8-0 against top 25 teams as you take a look at the net report.
Yeah, really impressive stuff. 2 top 10 teams. Villanova, who has not been able to beat UConn yet this season. Creighton nearly beat UConn on the road. And then, of course, Marquette and St. John's have both beaten the Huskies in recent weeks. So there are a lot of teams that are coming into this tournament playing on hot streaks. Things have come together, playing their best basketball. So this tournament, more than others in the past, feels pretty wide open, that there are a couple different teams who could walk out with the hardware.
And a legal screen now set by Patterson. And in terms of Connecticut, you talk about what seed line will they be on? Projections have them right now as a 3. What do you make of that?
Well, I'm looking at that #1 non-conference strength of schedule. They have played the toughest schedule of anybody in the nation. And they certainly have dropped down a little bit. They had been projected on the 1 line before some of these conference losses, but they'll still certainly be in that top 16, maybe with a chance to move up back to the 2 line with a strong performance here.
Ott with the steal and the score. Yasmin Ott.
I'm just impressed with how this team is continuing to fight. This is a group of young players on the floor right now, and they're not worried about the score or the atmosphere. They're just continuing to play hard, especially on the defensive end.
UConn has not scored this quarter. And we've got a timeout. So Georgetown with 6 straight here in the 4th. We'll see how the Huskies close. Finalized for the Big East men's tournament later tonight. Here's our bracket. We've got St. John's and Marquette coming up at 2:30. Villanova and DePaul, as well as Creighton and Seton Hall in our nightcap.
Just looking at this, we're going to need to make a nice coffee run after this game. 1 game down, 3 to go. We are in it for the long haul. We'll have all 4 with you.
Our coverage shifting to FS2 at 2:30. They had a stoppage because Scott was banged up.
She said, "I'm good. I just tripped." They're subbing her out. She's like, I literally just tripped, coach. I'm good.
Well, they will ever take a seat. Giving way to Christina Moore. John Fanta, Kim Adams, Megan Caffrey. St. John's Marquette coming your way at 2:30. Two teams that are viewed as being on the right side of the bubble entering this game. As Edwards comes up with a rejection.
Yep.
Her fourth block of the game. She's posted 17 and 12. And Gino Auriemma, when we said, what does she mean to the postseason? He said, a ton. Into Edwards. She's been an unstoppable force today.
She just works. She has worked this whole game, stayed aggressive, been active, been engaged, fought for position on every possession on her offensive end of the floor.
Her hair in yellow and purple because of Mamba mentality for Kobe Bryant, her idol. She's played with that mentality this afternoon. 19 and 12, 4 rejections. Now 6 on the shot clock. It's Moore who hits. Timeout, Jimmy Howard, as Christina Moore has her first made field goal here with just over 3 to go. We will stay here. And we talked about UConn's physicality and what Aaliyah Edwards means to this whole equation, Kim Adams. We have seen what happens when she turns on the Jets to the max.
Yeah, Aaliyah Edwards has been one of the most dominant big women in the game this season. Nationwide, she gets her position on post-up. She positions herself well, anticipating offensive rebounds. Not every big can make a catch like that. The mobility, the coordination. Aaliyah Edwards has had a huge impact on this game. This is her 12th double-double. 19 and 12, a couple of blocks as well. And for me, it's just been her mentality that she's shown in this game, John, on both ends. Just seeming to do whatever her team needs her to do to win. She is locked in. She has not taken a possession off.
And that is what Gino Auriemma brought up earlier this season to the press when talking about this team. He said, look, I know everybody loves talking about the guards, but with everything we've got going on in our backcourt and with all of our great teams, as we talked about in the first half, we've got this duo of Aaliyah Edwards and Dorka Juhas. They all actually have become best of friends in the process. And Seneschal hits it home.
Can't forget about the guards, though. We gotta keep showing them love. You gotta hit some threes. But I did think it was interesting. Gino said the toughest teams to prepare for in this era of basketball is teams that have big players that can shoot from the outside. And he feels he has that in Dorka Juhas.
Does Dawn Staley in South Carolina come to mind a little bit with their post play?
They do, but those girls are staying, those women are staying more on the inside.
Right.
Boston, Cardoso, I think, is just the X factor of that team. 6'7" off the bench. Ridiculous.
Another extra opportunity for the Huskies. 15 offensive rebounds today. They've outscored Georgetown in second chance points. 16-2. Griffin, great defense by the Hoyas. 3 on the shot clock. Nika Mule. Edwards yet again.
Relentless attack. I mean, look at the score. She doesn't care. She's going after every ball like it's a personal attack.
That's Connecticut mentality. Huskies up 55-35 on the glass. To the corner, Seneschal. Ransom fouled by Griffin. UConn on their way to the victory. They will see the winner of St. John's and Marquette tomorrow, folks. 3 Eastern time, FS1. And amazingly enough, those are the lone 2 teams that handed the Huskies losses in conference play. As Moore loses it. Always fascinating to see the arch of a tournament as Betancourt cannot hit. And now a blocking foul that you have to go through, whoever it is, just to get to the final. One of the teams that beat you.
Yeah, I think since UConn has rejoined the Big East, you could come in pretty confidently looking at the bracket and think they're going to have a pretty good chance of making the final. I don't think that's the case this year. I think whoever wins tomorrow is going to be a really tough challenge for this UConn team. Both of those teams, I have no clue who's going to win that game. I can't wait for it, but Marquette and St. John's have already shown that they can beat this team.
An ovation for Aaliyah Edwards. 19 points, 13 rebounds, 4 blocks.
Well-deserved ovation and cheer. That young lady left everything on the floor today.
Now the steal by Griffin. To shed some historical perspective on what you just said, that UConn will have a tougher time with either Marquette or St. John's, Connecticut has been in the championship game of every conference tournament since 1993.
That's absurd. That is absurd.
30 consecutive years that they've been in the conference tournament final. No worse than that.
What's crazy about that is you can have a fantastic regular season. You could go 30-0. But a lot of times in March, you may have one off shooting night that would prevent you from winning that game to a team that you would beat 9 times out of 10. But they've always found a way to come out in the win column.
Georgetown giving it back. Gino Auriemma was talking with us as well. Pre-game we said, well, this has been certainly a challenging year. Beyond basketball, the loss of his mother, Marciella, really hard on him, missing some games, with some health issues. I said, how have you handled it? Any book or movie or something? Nika Mule puts the punctuation point on this one. As you noted, Coach, you've got your own brand of wine. He said yes, and it's been more than a glass of that throughout this journey. Little Red doesn't hurt.
I still have to try that Auriemma brand wine. Maybe I can get an NIL deal for that.
Look at you with 20 seconds left. Making the most of the opportunity, Kim Adams.
I'm of age.
AZ Fudd returned. Aaliyah Edwards and Dorka Juha shined. An ovation. That's more like it for Connecticut. The Huskies are heading to the Big East semis.
Lots to like from this UConn performance. Wasn't the prettiest offensive night in terms of numbers, but a lot of players getting involved. The excitement of AZ Fudd returning. She knocked down some big-time shots, and just a lockdown performance on the defensive end, holding Georgetown to 20% shooting on the afternoon.
Edwards and Juhas each with double-doubles. Lopez Seneschal with 14. UConn awaits the winner of St. John's and Marquette. That semifinal will be tomorrow, FS1 at 3 Eastern time. St. John's and Marquette come your way at 2:30 Eastern time over on FS2 in Game 2 of our 4-game quarterfinal marathon. For Megan Caffrey, Kim Adams, I'm John Fanta saying so long from now. The Huskies dominate their way to the Big East semifinals. Join us on FS2 at 2:30 for St. John's and Marquette.